The coach comes into the locker room. It's a big game. And he tells the team, hey, you've got this. I know you guys. I know your hearts. I know your character. I know your talents and abilities. We are going to win this game. Now, great if the coach believes in them, but if he didn't prepare them that this was going to be maybe the hardest game of their entire lives because they're going against 4-time reigning national champions with 2 times the athletic ability and skill and knowledge, he wouldn't be doing them very good justice. And we find ourselves with this amazing speech that Jesus gives the disciples and others around at the temple as we're in these final days, as we're in Holy Week. Thanks for joining us for today's Daily Dose. My name is Trent Jenkins. I'm one of our pastors around here, and we are on part 3 of this Holy Week in Luke chapter 21. And let's take a dive into this, one of these final speeches that Jesus gives his disciples. They're around the temple and they're looking at all of the different elements that are part of it, the gifts and the stones that were dedicated to the temple. They're in awe of it. And then Jesus says these words, "As for what you see here, the time will come when not one stone will be left on another. Every one of them will be thrown down." He's like, everything you see here is going to be in destruction. All the beauty, everything. And then he gives us this speech about the destruction at the end times. And he says this, "Watch out that you are not deceived. For many will come in my name, claiming I am he, and the time is near. Don't follow them. When you hear of wars and uprisings, don't be frightened." He's like, it's going to happen, so don't be frightened. These things must happen first, but the end will not come right away. And then later on, he goes on to say in verse 16, "You're going to be betrayed by your parents and by brothers, sisters, relatives, and friends, and they will even put some of you to death. Everyone will hate you because of me, but not a hair of your head will perish. Stand firm and you will win life." Much different speech here as Jesus, this is the same Jesus has told us he's come to give us life and life more abundant. But in the last quarter, he's saying the hardest quarter is going to be very difficult, and don't be frightened. Don't be surprised. Isn't it interesting? He's telling us that we have a major opponent against us, but don't fear them. Don't fear as they're coming against you. Anybody have any bad days, weeks, months, years where it feels like other people in the world and culture are standing against you and everything that you're trying to do in your faith? And Jesus is saying, don't be surprised. Just stop. Would you just stop? I'm telling you. I'm telling you about it. So now once I'm telling you, I want you to be prepared. Be prepared for what's going to come. So then sometimes we can look at it as like, is it worth it? Why should we be defending this? I mean, isn't Jesus good on his own? Yeah, he is. But there's a side where like even my brother and I, we would say we would go to the final death to defend our mom. Why? Because she's our mom, right? If someone had to talk bad about her, do something against our mom, she gave us birth, she provided for us, she's a source of love. She's our mom. You better believe we're going to defend her. And maybe there's another family member or friend that you would think of the same way. And then how much more for Jesus Christ? He died for us. That he gave us life and hope beyond this world to eternity. And so Jesus, in his own words, he says this in verse 34, "Be careful. Be always on watch and pray that you may be able to escape all that is about to happen." We need to be on guard, be observant, don't be deceived. And he says, pray. Pray that the Holy Spirit would end up giving you encouragement in your innermost being to be able to stand the ground in these final days. So I want to encourage you here today as we're looking at the circumstances of life. And I don't know what's being thrown at you in your life, but just know that Jesus is preparing you and he's going to be able to give you a way. So we need to be able to be ready with a response. Response with the love of Christ, with words of wisdom. We need to be observant as he tells us to not be deceived, that we're not falling into schemes, and then we need to pray. Jesus himself tells us you need to pray because prayer does something inside of our being. It ultimately activates the Holy Spirit in our lives to be able to stand the devil's schemes. So I encourage you today, let's be encouraged with the love of Christ despite the circumstances. Have a great day, everyone.